So we've had some people asking some questions on how the lab works. So this is what it looks like. You have your workbench and you have your stockroom. In your stockroom, you have the solutions relevant to the lab. In this case, we have two compounds mistakenly labeled compound A. We have a series of glassware, including Erlenmeyer flasks of various volumes, graduated cylinders of various volumes, multiple pipettes of various volumes, multiple size beakers, and so on and so forth. And finally, you have the tools available to you. Well, this is a lab in which we are trying to verify the identity of an unknown liquid via its density. And since density is a question of mass over volume, we're going to need a way to calculate mass or to measure mass. So here's our scale. Currently it's reading 0.00, and it has a tare button that allows us to re-zero. We want to measure volume as well. So we have a number of graduated cylinders. I'm going to pick a 10 milliliter graduated cylinder. Now, anytime you want any of these items to interact, all you have to do is drag one of them over the other. Currently, our 10 milliliter graduated cylinder is on our scale, and it has a mass of 23.0678 grams. If I hit the tare button, it re-zeros. I can remove either of these items simply by clicking remove. If I take a look at my graduated cylinder, notice that there is an option for detail view, and it tells us exactly how much volume is in it. So let's get going. We want to measure the volume and mass of a sample of compound A1. So in my stockroom, I'm going to pick a scale, and I'm going to pick a graduated cylinder, and I need a method for getting our sample from the Erlenmeyer flask into the cylinder. Well, we also have a number of pipettes, and it doesn't really matter what volume I pick as long as I can measure it, and it doesn't really matter what mass. So here's a 5 ml pipette, and what we are going to do is transfer our liquid from our Erlenmeyer flask to our pipette. I'm just going to drag the pipette over, and notice that we have two options: hold to withdraw, hold to pour. And notice that it says from 5 ml pipette to compound A1. Ignore that. Obviously, we are withdrawing compound A1 into our pipette. So I'm simply going to hold to withdraw. I'll get it as close to 5 mils as I can, but it really doesn't matter. And you can see that when I'm looking at the detail view, it shows a volume of slightly higher than 5. In fact, 5.06 mils are transferred. Let's close out of that. Now you have some options here. You can weigh your graduated cylinder beforehand, then measure the volume after and subtract, or you can weigh your graduated cylinder and tare it so that now the scale has the mass of the graduated cylinder taken into account. I'm going to transfer, and you can leave this on the scale if you want. I'm going to transfer from my 5 ml pipette to my graduated cylinder simply by hovering over. Now notice, let's get the scale out of the way. Notice that it shows us the volume in the pipette and the volume of the cylinder. I'm going to hold to pour, and ignore this. We're going from the pipette to the graduated cylinder. Ignore that. Hold to pour. We are going to transfer everything out of here that we had. I'm just going to hold until it's all gone. That was a little over 5 mils, 5.06, and if I go over that, it's going to say something. It's going to be unhappy with that. We're not worried. Now I'm going to drag this back here, and now since we tared the scale beforehand, it shows not only the volume inside the graduated cylinder, which I can look at by detail view, a little over 5. Feel free to read that to whatever accuracy you want, but we can also read the scale as well. So we have a mass and a volume of our liquid, and I'll let you decide what to do with that. You can empty all of these simply by clicking remove liquid, or if you want to start over completely, just click remove and it'll get rid of all of them. Remove, and then you can start over. and go on to the next thing, which we want to be compound A2. So back here in solutions, you'll find compound A2. Okay, that's how it works. Best of luck.